Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 152 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish is a beautiful fish that is so popular in the aquarium trade, as it should be. I highly encourage you, if you are interested in aquariums, consider this going in your tank. I know I love them, many other people have loved them. They're such a beautiful fish and they're so good for an aquarium. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is, bam, the Kribensis cichlid. Now the Kribensis cichlid, or crib, or purple cichlid, or Niger cichlid, or any of the 1,000 other names it's called, scientific name is going to be Pelvicachromis pulcher. Again, that's Pelvicachromis pulcher. But technically it's not. Technically the Kribensis cichlid is a different species called Pelvicachromis taeniatus. However, in the aquarium trade, Pelvicachromis pulcher is by my understanding, the most widely available one. So we're going to talk about pulcher. But any of these facts that I'm giving you about Pelvicachromis pulcher is going to translate to most of the other Kribensis cichlid. I don't believe any of the other Pelvicachromis have anything extremely different than pulcher. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, it is part of the family Cichlidae, which is the family of cichlids. However, when most people think cichlids, they think South America. If you're brand new to sort of fish, especially if you're in North America. North American people think cichlid, they think South America. That's not the case. There is so many cichlids from Africa. And this cichlid is native to southern Nigeria and coastal Cameroon, specifically the Ethiop River. Now, this fish has been introduced in Hawaii. There is a population there that is from the aquarium trade. Please don't release your aquarium fish into native streams. It's bad. So there is a population in Hawaii. It's kind of bizarre. But kind of what you would expect from a fish that can survive in Hawaii. These fish are usually found in warm waters, somewhere between 24 and 26 degrees Celsius, which is about 75 to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's actually kind of a tight range. And if they get much colder than that, they seem to get extremely stressed out and not quite as... They just seem to get very stressed out. But you can find these in both fast and slow moving water. That they don't seem to care about the flow. What they do care about is you are going to find these only where there is extremely thick patches of vegetation in the wild. So this fish is heavily dependent on vegetation, and we'll kind of get into why in a bit. Now, it is a small fish. A lot of people would call this one of the dwarf cichlids. I would call it one of the dwarf cichlids. But so it's a small fish. You know, you have huge cichlids. Tilapia is a cichlid. I'm gonna drink my coffee real quick. My little Boston Terrier mug. It's not even a little mug, it's a massive mug. So this is a small fish. Males will grow to a max length of about 12.5 centimeters, which is about 4.9 inches, just under 5. And have a max weight of about 9.5 grams, which is 0.33 ounces. It's a light fish. It's a small fish. Now, in terms of females are actually smaller, but deeper bodied. Females will only get up to about 8 centimeters, which is about 3.2 inches. However, they weigh the same. So you have a fish that's like an inch and a half shorter, but still weighs the same just because they are deeper bodied. So you can actually tell them apart. However, I should mention that apparently you cannot tell them apart until they're at least 6 months of age. Any younger than 6 months, they look exactly the same. There's no way to tell them apart from what I saw. Anything above 6 months, then you can start actually sexing the fish. Some people can. Now, how do you know it's a Kribensis or Cichlid? You have this very thick lateral stripe that runs from the caudal fin, the edge of the caudal fin, all the way to the mouth, right below the eye. Then you have this kind of light stripe across the top, and then you have another kind of dark right along the backbone. Then you have this red belly. That's usually always present. It does get more intense when they are in breeding colors. And then they have these, over here. These ocelli spots here very often. Sometimes they'll only have one, sometimes they'll have this many. If you go look at the pictures, the ocelli spots are usually present. Like, I would imagine this one would be younger, but you can see an ocelli spot there. This one has none, so I don't know. Bizarre. There is a ton of pictures out there. So and I don't think all of these are Kribensis pulcher, but I don't know African cichlids that well. So, but yeah, so you have these ocelli spots very often, both on the dorsal and the caudal fin, so they could be present. And an ocelli spot is an eye spot. Remember, we've talked about ocelli spots before, but they're a dark spot, usually outlined in a lighter color to look like an eyeball. So there you go. They usually have a brighter yellow on their head below the stripe. So usually right here on the chin and on the bottom part of the opercle bone, they have this bright kind of yellow coloration to them. And that can be extremely prevalent or it cannot be. So I'm just kind of going usually. Now, as I said, you can tell the sexes apart. They are sexually dimorphic. I have a hard time. So these are two Pelvicochromis pulcher. I know this one is a male, and I know this one is a female, because females are traditionally and very, very often significantly more colorful than males. We get there. But some people say that the males have much more pointed fins, or they're pointed oddly, and females have rounded fins. See, if I saw this, I would say this one is a female based on the coloration, but a male looking at the fins. I'm not very good at like level of pointedness on the fins, I guess I should say. So there's a world of people out there that are significantly better than me on IDing these fish on whether they're male or female. I mean, this one's obviously, being so much larger than this one, is kind of obvious it's a male as well. So to me, it's a lot more difficult to go by fin shape. However, because of captive breeding and coloration, and maybe this is a duller male, maybe the female of this sort of like selective breeding process, maybe the female is so brightly colored it'll blind you. I'm just kind of giving you the information. It says out there, everyone, if you go on any website that talking about Pelvicochromis pulcher, they're going to talk about, oh yeah, males have pointed fin, females have rounded fins. That's a very that's well established apparently in the aquarium trade. I'm just saying it's a character that I have difficulty seeing personally. So please go do your own research if you want to get better than ping. Wouldn't surprise me. Now, in the aquarium trade, a lot of people have thought, oh, you feed them insects. Most cichlids are going to be, meat eaters. They are going to be carnivorous. However, that's not really the case. In the aquariums, they can feed on insects. Don't get me wrong. They seem to be fairly easy to take care of. But in the wild, there was a study done in 1985 that it was determined they ate almost no insects or other fish, virtually non-existent, and they primarily fed on plants and algae. And the aquarium trade is kind of starting to catch on to that and really shift this fish's diet towards plant-based materials, which is why it's a good it is a good thing as well, because this fish is known. When I was super heavy into the aquarium stuff, there was a lot of information out there about this fish being known to destroy plants just to do it. Now it's because it needed that plant material in its diet, and so it was just eating the plants. So I did find somewhere on one site that had a really good sort of thing. They said supplement your fish's diet with green plants, dandelions, blanched spinach, or seaweed products, or even flaked peas. And I was like, that is such a good idea. And quite frankly, I never thought about it. I mean, the seaweed product and the flake peas, that's so common in the aquarium trade. You can buy them commercially available. But putting blanched spinach into the aquarium, I had never thought of. And I'm like, that is such a good way to feed fish that eat on plants. That's such a good idea. And I wish I had thought of that 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Oh my goodness, I'm getting old. Now, they do live somewhere between 4 to 5 years, which is one of the reasons they're very popular in aquarium trade. When you have an easy to care for fish that does survive for 4 to 5 years, people can get really attached to their fish. So this is a really good one. And you can buy these fish anywhere from $15 to $20. Any cheaper than that, you're kind of getting with less reputable breeders. Any more than that, and I quite honestly feel like you're just overpaying. Now, for the interesting fact we're going to end the video on is this fish is actually more of a cave fish, or a hidey hole fish. They really feel good in caves. They really associate with caverns. Not necessarily big caverns. They are in the river, but they try and find like worn out rocks and stuff. In the wild, they'll actually dig on those plants and the vegetation. They'll dig underneath the plants and make little caverns in the root structures of the plants, and that's kind of where they live and breed. But in the aquarium, you can kind of use anything you want. I've always been a big proponent of flower pots. Take a flower pot, cut it in half, and put it at the bottom, and the fish love that. And they do. Don't get me wrong. They love the flower pots. But then I saw when I was doing research on this fish, I saw that someone said coconuts. Blew my mind. Never thought of coconut. It's so good. It's so easy to do. Just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, a coconut is awesome. And it looks so much more natural than a stinking flower pot. Anyway, so during breeding, the male and the female do kind of pair up. This fish is not monogamous. A lot of people think they are. They just are. Once they get established as a breeding pair, they do stick together throughout their breeding cycle very tight. Once the pair has been established, actually, you really don't even want to introduce any other fish into the tank. Because males will fight each other during breeding. They're very peaceful outside of breeding, but males will actually fight each other. That's fairly common, but females will even fight each other to try and get attention for a male. So once they're established, they don't want anybody messing with their partner at all. So what'll happen is the female will go into the cave and lay eggs along the side of the flower pot or whatever you have as the cave. They'll be in like strands hanging down the side. And then she doesn't leave the cave until they hatch and they become free swimming, which I believe is in like 4 or 5 days. The male basically patrols the outside, making sure that nothing comes after his family. So, a little bit of an interesting fact. It's such a cool fish. It's so neat to see that so many people have so many different methods of taking care of this fish. There is an absolutely astronomical amount of information on care of this fish. Just please be aware that a lot of them do say they're omnivorous, and they're really not. You can maybe train these to get those, but they really are more of an herbivorous fish, especially algae products. So just be aware, but I highly encourage you to consider the fish. But regardless, thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you do. I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Please click the link down below if you'd like to support the channel. It is by no means expected, but very much appreciated. Regardless, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.